What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to be talking about all the important things and best setups for the stock market tomorrow. Today was another action-packed day as we had good old Tesla make a brand new low yet again, but Tesla was not the only stock selling off today. There was also a bunch of selling pressure out of Nvidia and a couple other big market-moving tech stocks. Make sure to stick with us towards the end of today's video to follow along with some of the best setups for tomorrow. And towards the end of today's video, we have a $1.5 million big money trade to follow. But Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the stock market was pretty insane today. You can see early on in the morning, the market was actually gapping up into the day, and it was actually seeming like a pretty good open. But then early on, we saw that big drop down. And then, of course, as the market opened, we ended up tanking all the way down to 380 and then bounced off that support and started moving back to the upside in a pretty good way. I will say 380 is going to be a huge support. It's been holding up as a pretty big support over the past few days. And if we break below 380, I think I could see more selling, possibly going back to the downside tomorrow. But Mike, the heat map today was pretty crazy. Most of the big tech stocks in the market were down. Like you said, Nvidia was down 7%, Netflix down 3.66%, and good old Tesla again was down 11%, really kind of leading the charge to the downside. Even Amazon was down. But man, that move on Tesla, Mike, was pretty brutal again. Like I said, down 11.4%. That is just a terrible move. And I know we also talked about airlines yesterday, and Southwest Airlines ended up gapping down with some pretty bad news coming out of there as well. So like you said, it was action-packed, and unfortunately, another bad day for Tesla. We're actually almost back down to $100 even now.
Tesla's giant drop over the past month has truly been historic in the sense of how quick and how violent it's been. But on a different note, Tom, I really have to tip my hat off to you. You had an amazing trade today in the Stocked Up Discord. You called out one of the biggest and best downside opportunities in the entire market today before the market even opened. So Tom was calling out Nvidia to the downside, Nvidia put options today before the market even opened, and it ended up being literally one of the best put option opportunities in the entire market. So Tom, tell us more about how you found this setup. What were you looking at? And I mean, you had such a great call out, so tell us what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. This ended up being an amazing play. And guys, you can get these plays in the Discord for free. Check out the link below. You can check out that and join up for free. These day trades are posted every single morning before market open, and they are awesome. But Mike, Nvidia, we've been eyeing up support on them for a few days now. And when I'm sitting here looking at Nvidia's chart, I saw a huge support this morning, right around $150.50, especially from Friday. You can see there was just a ton of bounces right around that area. And we ended up tanking right below there. You can see I'm circling pretty much right where we fell below 150.50. That could have been a very good entry point. Now, even if you were late and you entered a little bit late here, maybe a few minutes late, you still could have got that initial move below 150. That is such a huge level. We've been watching it for a few weeks now, and it's just so important to, keep these stocks on your radar, keep those levels in the background so that you know when those stocks are going to move and whenever you can get into them. But like I said, Mike, you could join the Discord for free, get into plays like this, and those put options on Nvidia today ended up exploding. And that play was called out just about 20 minutes before the market opened. So definitely some good opportunity. I know scalpers love these types of trades, and I will say, Mike, they are pretty underrated and they're free.
Yeah, there we go. Join that, use that first link in the description and the comments down below. It's free, so you have no reason not to. And Tom did such a great job. And, even if there's not a play like this every single day, normally these types of setups are pretty good. So make sure to follow along with them. But Tom, just a couple minutes ago, you were talking about airline stocks and how they have had a wild past couple days. What's going on with this situation?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit yesterday about a lot of flight cancellations, specifically with the company Southwest Airlines. I know this is very important, but they have a lot of flight cancellations going on. Apparently, they cut 70% of their schedule, they had said. So that's pretty rough, and it's for the next several days. So not good there. It's actually gotten so bad, Mike, that President Biden actually had to issue a statement out for this on Twitter. And you can see that the Transportation Department, or USDOT Twitter page, actually said something as well. They said that they're concerned by Southwest's unacceptable rate of cancellations and delays and reports of lack of prompt customer service. The department will examine whether cancellations were controllable and if Southwest is complying with its customer service plan. So definitely not good. It looks like the Biden administration is looking to hold Southwest Airlines accountable and other airlines for this issue. And you can actually see it's trending on Twitter with 94.8 thousand tweets right now coming out, and Spirit is actually trending as well. So watch these airlines here, Mike. They look pretty volatile, and that is not good that Biden issued this. And you can see that Southwest fell down pretty much all throughout the day. But I will say, looking at other airlines like Delta, American Airlines, United Airlines, some of them actually did decent. Like United was actually up this morning a little bit, but all this bad news is starting to kind of dampen their moves up. And obviously Southwest is really tanking on the off of this news.
Very interesting. I'll definitely keep it on my radar going forward. But Tom, I want to talk about some setups that I'm watching for the rest of the week. So one of them is Enphase, ENPH. We've been talking about this stock so much over the past couple weeks, and honestly, probably even the past couple months. We've been waiting for it to finally break down, and it is breaking down. So it tanked off a good amount today. And honestly, it could probably still go, it could probably fall a little bit more. Right now, it's right around 274, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it retested maybe 267, right around there, depending on how the market is, or maybe even lower, depending on the whole situation. But, we've been waiting for this breakdown, and Enphase is breaking down in a good way. So I would not be surprised if it continued.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. That's actually a pretty big drop back to the downside. I'm finally happy that we're below that big $300 area. You can see I'm kind of circling here where there was a lot of volatility with Enphase right around 300, but it's good to see we finally broke that down. So hopefully we get a nice drop to the downside. I hate to, say that I wish for a stock to fall down, but hey, we got to play the market as it comes. And right now, Enphase is definitely overextended on that longer term chart. So I'm with you there, Mike. I know I talked a little bit yesterday about energy stocks. I know you actually talked about CCJ as well, and CCJ did quite well. This was one of your plays from yesterday, Mike. So fantastic call out with CCJ. That's awesome there. And I'm getting back into the energy plays again today with Oxy. I will say they're starting to pop up a little bit. They didn't have as quite as an explosive day today as I would have liked. But as you can see, it's holding this trend line on the daily chart. And if we do get a nice continuation and breakout tomorrow up above $65, I think that Oxy could end up being a pretty good play. You can see there was a lot of consolidation up there. And if we do break out, I think that these energy stocks might do a little bit better than, other sectors in the market, especially considering how the SPY has been so choppy lately.
Sounds good. I'll make sure to keep it on my watch list. Another stock I'm watching is IWM. If you guys didn't see yesterday's video, check it out. We go over some pretty interesting stats for the end of the year to do with Santa rallies and all that good stuff. But long story short, IWM follows the Russell 2000, which is an index, and the Russell 2000 tends to do better than the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones, specifically at the end of the year. So, and specifically just December overall. So IWM is in the red this month, like all of the other major indexes, but it does tend to close green for December. So, it's not like the highest conviction setup in the world, but it definitely is on my watch list. This tends to follow some of the smaller cap stocks. So it's definitely on my watch list for a play to the upside. I was eyeing up 175.50 to around 176 for a potential break area. But really it'd be more of a play to capitalize off of a surge in momentum.
Yeah, I feel like that these growth stocks are due for it, Mike. I mean, we're seeing so many growth stocks right now down around supports, whether it be DraftKings around support, You can see on the daily chart here, man, we are really getting close to support, almost breaking it at this point. Squares down by support, zooms by support. I feel like a lot of these growth stocks are down quite a bit. Even like Palantir, you can see on their daily chart, they've actually been breaking support a little bit. So we're definitely due for a pop up. I think IWM can be a pretty smart play. And I do like how on the 5-minute chart, we're starting to maybe bounce around this 172.50 support. If we hold there, maybe we'll start to test that upper part of that range you mentioned. So seems pretty good there with IWM. I know I talked about some supports throughout that. And I know Target is another big stock at support. And what I really like about Target is it moves with the SPY, but it's not the most correlated. You can see it's 0.83. But this year, it's obviously been falling down quite a bit. And we're actually bouncing right off of key support at $140. You can actually see how spot on that bounce has been on that daily chart. So I will watch Target for a continuation up. If we can break above like the high of day today, up around like 146, I will look for a potential push up. And guys, really eye this one up. I don't know what's up with Target and this support, but ever since we touched it, we've had some very explosive momentum.
There we go. All right, well, it is now time for the momentum plays. With today's first one, we have NVIDIA to the downside, and this was actually yesterday's play as well. So it was a momentum play from yesterday, and Tom sniped it before market open.
Yeah, so NVIDIA fell down a lot today. They're actually sitting right at $141 right now at close. So if they can break below $140 even tomorrow, I will look for a big drop. And guys, NVIDIA has really been rocketing down. So if it breaks this support, it could have a pretty bad day.
Yeah, and since NVIDIA is so volatile, like Tom, like let's say NVIDIA were to break like the 140 support, but it touched like 143.99. Like you have to there has to be some give and take with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you see NVIDIA go down, honestly, especially considering all the volatility that we usually see come in at market open, you might want to just wait, for a couple candles of confirmation. And I know a lot of people like to do that. So what I would do is almost maybe just wait on like the 1-minute chart. And if you see maybe, 2 minutes or 2 candles print down below that support, it could maybe be a pretty good play. One example I want to show, Mike, is actually from this morning with NVIDIA. You can see how it broke below 150, but on the 1 minute, you can tell that some of those candles right here that were green ended up being a little bit volatile. I bet that scared some day traders there in the shorter term. So then you can see how if you would have let maybe a couple more candles print, it really showed that break of support. So maybe make like 2 candles on the 1 minute break below 140.
All right, sounds good. So with the next momentum play, we have Enphase also to the downside.
Yeah, this one's pretty good, Mike. Like you mentioned as your play, I think it could be a pretty good setup. I would go ahead and make them break below the low of day, right around 273.80, which is also right around 274.
All right, now with the last one, we have Meta, but we need both directions.
META. Hopefully Meta can start to pop back up, but if they do drop, make them fall down below 116.40. I see that as a decent support. If they can move up above the intraday resistance around 117.60, then I will look at the call.
All right, so we're watching Meta for potential day trade to the upside tomorrow, only if it breaks above the level Tom listed. And we're also watching it for potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. We also have Enphase and NVIDIA on watch for day trade to the downside, so keep an eye on them. But it is now time for the big money $1.52 million trade of the day. We are looking at none other than CRM. So this is Salesforce. This company has been on a massive uptrend for years, but lately over like the past year, it's been struggling just like any and every other stock for the most part. It has all-time highs around $311. Right now it's around $130. Basically what happened today is there was $1.52 million put into the CRM 140 strike call options that expire on February 17th of 2023. For those of you who don't trade options, the main thing you need to know is assuming that the big money is buying these call options, that they want CRM stock to go as high as possible, and the higher CRM goes, the more money that the trader will make in this situation. To be honest, Tom, while CRM is oversold and while it is starting to hold its level in a good way, I don't dislike this setup. It's just I like other big money setups that we've talked about recently more than the CRM one.
Yeah, I do as well. I will say though, Salesforce has been pretty attractive, and I've been looking at grabbing some Salesforce for a long time now. And with them getting down to around those COVID lows, it definitely is starting to, look more enticing as far as, their pricing goes. But I'm with you. It's another one of those plays where I would prefer to get something else. Honestly, like I'd rather get into like a bigger tech stock, maybe like Intel, for example, down here at lows, or something maybe with like a better balance sheet. But CRM has been talked about a lot as a growth stock, and with it being around support, I mean, hey, if these calls end up popping off, it could end up being a very good play for these for this trader here. What I will say, Mike, is with it being the 140 strike, it does scare me a little bit of with it possibly being covered calls, but with it being around support, I wouldn't be surprised if we got at least a short-term uptrend, maybe even like a retest up to like 150 or 160 would be amazing considering these are the 140 strikes.
True. Yeah. 100%. But yeah, Tom, looking at the market overall, normally this time of the year tends to be a pretty good time of the year, but it hasn't been that way so far this month. Going into, the last couple trading days of 2022, do you have like any setups you're watching, extra closely or anything like that?
Yeah, I think yesterday I actually mentioned this one towards the end of the video as well. And I think that it's not just necessarily this stock, but just energy and commodities in general. I noticed we're doing very, very well today. I saw ZOM doing well. GLD was actually popping up a lot this morning before pulling back. They actually broke 170 and flew up in a very explosive way for gold. Gold doesn't usually have this type of moves at market open, but it had a pretty explosive move today. I know that those oil stocks are also starting to move up as well. So I think that these commodities and these energy stocks are going to be pretty attractive here over the next few days. Even if they end up falling down, I feel like possibly, like I said, like with Oxy, they're holding this trend line. If they start to break below that, it could even be a good play down possibly. But, as we know, Mike, there's been a lot of stuff going on with Russia, Ukraine, and stuff like that. And it's been affecting these oil prices again. And we're starting to see crude oil pop back up a little bit and hold its ground. So, man, I hate to say it, but if oil pops up again, it's going to be negative for the whole country. So, I think just looking at some of these energy stocks is very important right now, especially considering the way that they were moving today. And like ZOM even had a better intraday move than Oxy, but I think Oxy will be better as the week goes.
There we go. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos all the time, and in every single nightly video, we talk about a big money hedge fund style trade. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you subscribe, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. But we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day. And that is D Stonks. D Stonks. He's been in the Discord chat for over 2 years now. So thanks so much for being an awesome and active member of the StockedUp Discord community. Tom and I appreciate you. Besides that, it should be a very exciting last couple days of 2022. We're set for an exciting year in 2023. We have a lot of stocks at low levels, a lot of crazy things happening in the market, especially with big tech stocks like Tesla and many others. It should be an action-packed 2023. So thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make sure to end 2022 on a strong note.